On the table in front of me, I have the general equipment that I bring with me when I go to the range. Let's start with the firearm. This is my particular firearm. I use a Glock pistol. It's a garbage gun, I call it. The reason I call it that is whatever kind of ammo I put in it, it'll eat it, it makes it go bang. So for using cheaper ammo and stuff like this works great. That reliability is something that I always personally want in a firearm. What firearm you pick is up to you. The next is when I come to the range, I always come with my own magazine full of my carry ammo. And that carry ammo is going to stay in the magazine the whole time. I'm not going to shoot this ammunition. The first reason is because it's really expensive. We don't want to be shooting that all the time. Every so often to make sure the carry ammo is working well with your firearm is fine. But otherwise, I leave that magazine always ready to go. The second reason for having that magazine is if your firearm allows you to carry ready to go going into the range as well as ready to go locked and loaded when you leave the range, you want to have that magazine. You never want to shoot all of your ammunition. If you're not allowed to do that, well then as soon as you get in your vehicle, you now can lock and load and be ready to go once you've finished your range time. In Minnesota, where I'm from, there were several cases where bad guys had actually come to the range and scoped out people and their weapons they were using, and then they would pick those people off to get their weapons from them in a theft or a robbery. By having your equipment ready to go when you're leaving the range or as soon as you get in the car, you've now got one more chance to either avoid or deter that kind of a criminal tactic, so be aware of that. Next, you're going to want one box of ball ammunition of your particular firearm's caliber. You're going to need that to do your live fire drills. The next training tool is this SIRT pistol made by Next Level Training. This is a phenomenal training tool, literally the best I've ever worked with. It's useful for novice shooters all the way to the experts for increased safety, speed, manipulation, everything you can think of you can do using this particular training tool. This is a must-have. The next training tool is one of these shot timers. This is one by Competition Electronics. They come in lots of different sizes and price ranges, so find the one that you like and learn how to use it. This is another one of the greatest training tools you can have in your arsenal. Next, you'll want at least 2 empty magazines. The reason we want 2 empty magazines and not the one that we used with our carry ammo is these are the ones we're going to be loading and filling and using when we're on the range. That also means we don't care if we drop it in the mud, throw it on the ground, rip it out, use the hard malfunction device on it, any of those sorts of things. We actually like to color the bottom of our magazines just so nobody ever walks away with them because, well, they're pink and people don't really want to walk away with pink magazine bottoms. And these particular ones you're going to be using for all of your manipulation drills, your reloads, your malfunctions. So feel free to have ones that you're okay to abuse. Next, you'll want a few of these dummy rounds. These are some really nice ones that we found. They're metal with a plastic bullet. These guys will allow you to do malfunctions as well as making sure your slide doesn't lock to the rear unless you want it to lock to the rear. They're very, very useful. I typically will take out 4 or 5 with me when I go to the range. A lot of members will actually just go and buy themselves a box and take the whole box with them when they go to range time. If you can get one, you're going to want one of these too. This is a hard malfunction device. This actually causes your firearm to go into a simulated hard malfunction when it gets hit. These are one of the best training tools for getting that stimulus response of a hard malfunction that we've ever found, and it's way safer than like using a larger bullet or things like that. You're going to also want a stack of clean white paper. This 8.5 by 11 paper is your typical target. The reason being is it's almost exactly the same size as a chest cavity, which is where we want to do most of our engagement in shooting. If you're hitting that 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper with every shot and at pace, then you're doing very well. If you want to increase the challenge, the half sheet of paper gets us a little bit closer to heart, lung, CNS, that kind of stuff. You can go quarter sheets if you want, but generally speaking, not really necessary for defensive shooting. Great for competition work though. Next is a stapler. This is how we're going to hang our targets up on the backstop or on our target stands, and we can also keep hanging up our white sheet of paper targets when these get to be shot through enough. A roll of tape can be Scotch tape, can be sort of that normal sort of beige tape, whatever kind of tape you'd like to take with you. The idea being is if the shot goes outside of my 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, I want to tape over that so that I know that the shot stayed inside the 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. If you have a lot more taped areas than you have shots in your white piece of paper, you've got a bit of a problem. A silhouette target like this one will do good for your main shooting target. You'll staple your white sheets of paper to the front of it. You don't need anything fancy or any kind of photorealistic targets, in my opinion. This will work just fine. This is a very, very simple one that's made by Range Systems. Notebook and a pen is another one, because this is how you actually keep track of what it is that you're doing at the range. You want to actually know if there's some element in which you're improving. Record what happens after every course of fire. What were your split times? What did your accuracy look like? Use those things to be able to tell you, are you improving or are you having a distinct problem? And then you can work on the problem that you're having. Last but not least, good set of hearing and eye protection. Like what you saw? Subscribe to my YouTube channel and keep checking out the training blog for more tips and drills.